Okay, now hello everyone and welcome to another live English lesson presented via Zoom platform for conferencing and produced by me, your English teacher Hamid at Al-Firdaus Bilingual Secondary School. Today we're gonna do the exercises in your activity books. We didn't do we didn't do all the exercises, so we'll try to do those important ones. And you'll have a quiz in the comparative and superlative adjectives. But before that, we're going to study how to use ever and never in sentences, especially when we use the present perfect tense. Okay? So, what is meant by ever and never? Can anyone tell me what is meant by these two words? What is meant by never and what is meant by ever? Okay, Adam. When you answer me, try to send your messages to everyone, okay? So everyone can see what you're saying. Okay, Adam, Awab, and Asma. So now let's speak about ever and never. Ever is used in negative sentences to express a doubt or to ask a question. It is the opposite of always. Okay? Like if we say, if you ever see him, tell him he still owes me money. Now, this sentence means if you see him at any time, tell him he still owes me money. So never and ever, in fact, share similar meanings, but they are used differently. Never means never means at no time and is used in negative terms. It is used in affirmative. It is used as a negative term in affirmative constructions. And I think you remember what is meant by affirmative, right? Do you remember it? We said before that an affirmative sentence is one which expresses the validity or truth of a basic assertion. It can be defined as affirming or asserting the truth or fact of something, while a negative sentence negates something. It expresses the falsity of something. It shows how false it is. Okay? Now, this is the difference between affirmative and negative sentences. So, we said that ever is usually used, sorry, never is usually used in affirmative sentences, and it means at no time. Now, what about ever? Now, ever means at any time, and yes, okay, can you hear me? Okay, so we said that ever means at any time, and it is usually used in what? In negative and interrogative sentences. So we can say that ever and never are opposites of each other and have different usages in English language. Again, never is used mostly in statements, while ever is used in negative sentences or interrogative sentences. There's something that should be mentioned here about ever, that it is used usually, when we use it, okay, hold a minute. Yes, we have a newcomer. Okay. We usually use it in questions in the present perfect. So, do you remember what is meant by interrogative sentence? It is a question, right? So, ever is mostly used, we said, in a question form. For example, the sentence or the question, have you ever been to the zoo? It is usually used before the main verb. Okay. So we usually use ever in questions formed in the present perfect, as we said, when we talk about the past. And do you remember when to use the present perfect, right? We have spoken a lot about this tense. We said that the present perfect describes a finished action in an unfinished time, a finished action at an undefined time, and an unfinished action. I don't know if you can hear me or not. Okay, in every case, the present perfect is used because it connects something in the past to the present. Like, for example, if I say, I haven't eaten today, have you been to Basra? We have been here for 10 minutes. One of the important uses of a present perfect is to talk about life experiences, and to do this, we usually use the words ever and never. By using the present perfect with these words, we focus attention on the action and knowing if the subject has had his particular experience. So the time of the event is not important. As you can see in the previous examples I have mentioned, which are, for example, okay, we have a newcomer again. Okay. The sentences that I mentioned, which is, I haven't eaten today. Have you been to Basra? We have been here for 10 minutes. In these examples, in the questions, we use ever, and in negatives, we use never, combined with an affirmative verb. As we said, never is used to refer to negative thing, or negation refers to negation, but we use it in an affirmative sentence, right? Okay, so you have these two examples before you, the two sentences. Have you ever been to, okay, have you ever been to the zoo? I have never flown in a plane. Now, it's clear for you when and where to use ever and never. Use ever in questions and negative sentences, and when we use never in affirmative sentence to refer to a negative idea. I mean, to negate something. Now, this is clear, right? I think it's clear. Now, let's go to the activity books. Some of you don't have activity books, but I have sent you before a digitized version of activity book, right? So you should. Okay, can you hear me? Muhammad, you don't have to open the mic, you just try to listen. Everyone else is listening to me. They can hear me. Okay. So now, exercise A of lesson 1. We were too late. Yeah, we were too late to, in bringing your activity books to you, but however, you know the situation. So in lesson 1, exercise A, it says listen and draw lines from the person to the country. Do you remember when we spoke about those children and we made some questions in the lesson about, in the class, concerning where they come from? So now I will read it again and you have to answer this question. Now we have you can check them on, have we done this exercise before? Because I think that we have, right? Have we done this exercise before? Oh, okay. Asma, have we done this exercise before? Exercise A. Asma is sleeping. Okay. Okay, we will do it. First one here, if you remember, if you check your student's book, you will see it on lesson 1. If you remember, there were four, in fact, children, and the question was where they come from. Do you remember? These are the four people. So I will read what they are saying, and you should complete this exercise, right? So the first boy says, my name is Emily, or Emile, sorry. It is a French name. I come from France. We have many shops in my country. Where can you buy beautiful clothes? And there is another girl who says, my name is Sultana. I come from Oman. I live near the sea, where you can see lots of boats. There's a boy saying, my name is Raji. I come from India. You can see elephants in my country. There's another boy saying, my name is Yuki. I come from Japan. There are beautiful mountains in my country. So, now, again, exercise B. Write sentences about for 4 people. Email come from France. Number 2, the other 3. Yeah, I mean, complete the other sentences just like the first one. We have spoken about email. Now the other one, Sultana. Okay, Awab, it's easy for you. We should do it, even if it is easy. So, number 1, Adam, try to give us a complete sentence. Just like the first one, when we said, email come from France. 2, Sultana, email comes from France. Sultana comes from Oman. Number 3, give me complete sentences. Raji Yes, Raji comes from India. 4, Yuki comes from Japan. Try to write correctly. Okay, now let's move to exercise A of lesson 2. Do you remember when we read about Big Bill, and his shop, right? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Because there's a problem in my connection. Okay. You remember when we read about Big Bill and Fuad and Tanya, who went there to learn about other countries? So exercise A on page 54 is about Big Bill and Fuad and Tanya. I'm going to read the conversation between Big Bill and Fuad and Tanya, and you should know how to answer exercise A. Okay. I will read it anyway. Let's read it together. So, Bill, can you tell us about other countries, please? Bill says, my shop can tell you. Look at these oranges. Where do they come from? I don't know. They come from Lebanon. These apples come from France. This tea comes from India. Have you ever been to India? Yes, I have. I went there last year. What did you do there? I rode an elephant. Now let's get back to the activity book. So the oranges come from Lebanon. I will not wait for you. Number 2, the apples come from France. Number 3, the tea comes from India. No, exercise B is about the same lesson, but if you look at the bottom of page 37, there are 2 questions. Have you ever been to England? Have you ever been to Oman? So let's look at Bill and what's behind him. You see, on the left hand, there is a museum, right? So where do you think a museum is? I think it's not in Oman, it's in England, right? And this is a fort. We call it a fort. You know what is meant by a fort, just like a castle. So this is a fort which is located in Oman. So if we return to exercise B on page 55, we will suppose that Fuad asks Bill about could you hear me? Okay, so I don't have to repeat myself. So here, let's suppose that Fuad is asking Bill if he has ever gone to, or if he has ever been to England. So, how to complete this conversation? Fuad says, Bill, have you ever been to England? Right? Have you ever been to England? Yes. Remember that now we are practicing how to use the present perfect and how to use ever and never. And it's already there on page 37, right? So we suppose that Bill says yes. So how to answer if someone asks you, have you done something? If you really did it, so you should say, yes, I have. So here Bill says, yes, I have. And how to complete the other sentence? He says, I've been there last year. Right? Maybe we will have we will lose a connection, I think. Okay, so sorry. Bill says, yes, I have. I went there last year, right? Just like Ismail said. Fuad, what did you do there? Bill says, I went to a museum. Okay, yes. So, number 2, Tania. Here we suppose that Tania is asking Bill about the other question, which is, Bill, have you ever been to Oman? And Bill answers, yes, I have. I went there last month. What did you do there? I went to a fort. How to write the fort? F-O-R-T. Okay. Now the other exercises are not so important. We cannot do it online. But let's move to exercise C on page 57. If we lose the connection, get back again, okay? We will host another meeting. Okay, now let's do exercise C on page 57. Use the correct words from the boxes below to complete the table. We have the first form of the verb, the root form. We have the past tense form and the past participle, the third form of the verb. So, the verb eat. Here's the past tense of eat. You can check it from this box. Eat becomes, in the past tense, it becomes in the past tense. In the past tense. Eat becomes ate. It's clear. In the past participle, it becomes eaten. Verb ride. In the past tense, it becomes rode. Now we are doing exercise C on page 57. We are speaking about these verbs in general. And if you care, it's about lesson 3. So ride becomes rode, and the past participle it is ridden. Okay? Verb C, in the past tense, it becomes saw. And in the past participle, it becomes seen. The verb write, in the past tense, it becomes wrote. In the past participle, it becomes written. The verb be, in the past tense, it becomes was and where, was or where, okay? In the past participle, it becomes been. And go, in the past tense, becomes went, and the past participle becomes gone, right? Now here, these are not so much important. Now, as a homework, yes, صح, okay, awab, all right. Now let's move to page, okay. Okay, now we have these adjectives. You remember when we talked about comparative and superlative adjectives, right? So here is an exercise concerning the comparative and superlative adjectives. You remember when we spoke about how to form the comparative sentence, and if it is a one-syllable word or two or more, okay? No. No. Now let's do this. Okay? The first one, you can see the first is we can call it a positive adjective, cold. In the comparative adjective, it is colder. In the superlative adjective, it becomes coldest. Now, warm, which it is a one syllable adjective. So in a comparative, as a comparative adjective, it becomes warmer, and the superlative adjective becomes warmest. It's okay if you cannot write I mean, you cannot, if you don't know how to write warmer or warmest, I will send you the answer again later on. Okay, now warm, it become warmer, warmest. Small, it becomes smaller, smallest. Now we have this adjective, which is big, bigger, biggest. You remember when we said that if the adjective consists of one syllable and it ends in a consonant letter and before it there is a vowel letter, so we should duplicate the last letter and add er or est, just like the way you see in big. So here hot is also a one syllable word which ends in a consonant letter and before it there is a vowel letter, so it becomes hotter, hottest, but you have to duplicate the letter T. And it's the same way with wet, it becomes wetter and wettest. Now, large, larger, largest. Nice, nicer, nicest. Dry, drier, driest. You remember when we spoke about those adjectives which end with y? So here you should omit the y and change it into an I and E and add ER or EST in drier. See, dry, drier, driest. So the same way with sunny, you change the I into an you change the Y into an I and add ER or EST. And the same way around with rainy. Okay? So now we have finished the most important exercises. I want you to do exercise A on page 63. You remember when we studied the information about Indonesia? We did it in the class, right? So I want you to complete this paragraph, this description of Indonesia, okay? Of lesson 7, activity book, exercise A on page 63. Okay? Page 63. Exercise A. Now that's it for today. Yes, Awab, complete this exercise. That's it for today. Next time, Inshallah. First, you have to do this homework, to do this exercise. Inshallah, next time we will read the story on page 43. So you have to read, okay? I will send you an audio file of this story being read, and pay attention. I want to listen to you reading this story, okay? And I will give marks to those who will read. That's it. Do you have any question? Okay. So that's it for today. See you next time, inshallah. Oh, okay, pay attention. Pay attention. That I will upload a PDF file now of your quiz, and you have from now till 12 a.m. to complete the quiz, okay? Okay, so get ready. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye-bye.